Okay,
This
guys.
Skull of Undeath will track and show your total number of kills,
Vamos.
deaths, and your KDR. Just because Path of Exile
Uy,
is a
mira,
first-person
mira.
shooter doesn't mean this isn't important.
Mientras más a la
Proudly
derecha
yours,
esté, más
shamefully. Link it to your
lo
friends
supone.
or on global chat to show it off.
Skull of Undeath,
And with that,
boys.
let's get to why you're here. Secrets of
O
the
sea,
Atlas.
tenía razón eso que salía cada 2 meses, entonces.
Van a empezar modo potente, tío. Venga.
Bueno, empezamos. Liga de cartas.
Sí.
Ojalá.
Yo vienen
¡Ay,
cartas.
huevos!
Silencio, silencio.
Está en una mesa. La mesa se utiliza para jugar las cartas.
Me parto el culo.
Confirmado.
Ojo, ojo. Es un malote este.
But now,
Biblioteca.
I seek something more tangible.
Expedition.
No.
Expedition.
Los bichos están llenos de cum, tío.
Someone I care for. Trapped within the Atlas.
¡Ojo!
No me he enterado.
Reliving
¡Dana!
memories. Made real. Made grotesque.
Ojo, cuidado.
¡Ojo!
Made foul.
¿Aldo?
These manifestations must
Bueno,
be destroyed.
estáis viendo los bosses de acto 4 y acto 5 del juego, lo sabéis, ¿no?
Sí, correcto.
I must have answers.
Uy, uy, uy.
We must find the originator. We must save my sister.
¡No! Not like this. Sigue sobre Atlas, vamos a ver. Uy, uy, uy. ¿Más crafting?
Ojo, Edo.
Super King March.
Más que más bien, lo que quieras.
Runecraft.
Come, child. Drink deep the waters of life.
Mercenaries of Tartus. Our boys. Mercenaries from Diablo 2.
¿Cómo?
Puedes equipar a tu mercenario.
Vale, que tenemos como
Como el Diablo 2.
seguidor de Diablo.
Sí, como el servidor
Your
del diablo.
sanity is not promised to you here.
Secret Atlas.
Nuestra amiga Sana, tío.
Secret of the Atlas.
Hi,
El secreto del
I'm
puente
Mark
viejo.
Roberts, Game Director on Path of Exile. As you just saw from the trailer, there's a lot to show you.
There's a lot.
Ya ves
Today,
que tienes que
we will
enseñar,
take you on a
cabrón.
deep dive into the new Path of Exile Secrets of the Atlas endgame update. Then,
Endgame.
we'll explore the new...
Espérate un
Vale.
momento.
Mercenarios.
O sea, Mercenaries es la liga y Secret of the Atlas la expansión, lo que yo te dije.
Vale, Gold,
Olvídate de repostar con
Settlers.
hasta 130 kilómetros de autonomía.
Joder, me han clavado el anuncio, tío.
Y 900 kilómetros de autonomía combinada. Nueva gama híbrida Cupra.
Los supporter pack para el final, o sea.
Descubre más en cupraofficial.es.
Los dineros.
Pues como siempre.
La madre que los trajo, tío. Primavera Sound me da igual.
of Exile Secrets of the Atlas, strange rifts have begun to appear across the Atlas. Zana has returned and appears to be trapped within.
No, Sana.
Partway through the endgame, you will meet Egan, an intelligent man of mysterious heritage. These tears in reality he has discovered are actually threads of memory, distorted
Ya
and
como
made
síntesis.
real by the Atlas. Egan is able to create a link to these memory threads and open portals to them. Working with Egan, you must step through and find Zana,
Bueno, Sana estaba
or
gordita, cuando
whatever
era
remains
pequeña.
of her. Okay, so that's the story background, but how does this expansion actually work? In the Secrets of the Atlas, the pursuit of Zana with Egon is a new storyline that is introduced in high-tier maps.
Let's
Upon
go.
meeting Egan and discovering the tier, he will then transfer it to your map device and reveal this on your Atlas.
Oh,
a
como una
thread
memoria.
of memories. In order to now access each map on the thread, you
Ojo.
simply need to talk to Egan when you're ready, and he'll open the areas in sequence.
Cuando empieza en tier 12.
These areas can be fully influenced by your Atlas tree, scarabs, fragments, and everything of the sort. As you work your way along the thread, you will discover that these maps have manifested dangerous threats, influenced by the memories of Zana herself. Monsters here are imbued with memory petals. Defeat them to absorb this power, which can be unleashed as a special ability during combat. Different maps on the thread have different
Memory of
abilities,
disbelief.
and these abilities appear on an additional mini skill bar next to your regular skills.
Ay, te las
For
puedes vender.
example, Memory of Disbelief will cause all affected monsters to stop dropping equipment items. meaning they can now only drop more valuable items, like currency and maps.
Domination is
Memory
cargo
of Panic
operations.
will make all affected monsters revive immediately
¿Qué?
after death, which means you can get twice as much experience and drops from them.
Bueno, en medio de
And
una
Memory of
brecha la vamos a
Impatience
liar
will
toque.
cause all surrounding enemies to give you their souls, temporarily increasing your
Como,
power.
es como Sentinel, ¿no?
As you
Hostia,
progress
eso
further
está
into the thread
chetísimo.
of memories, the maps
En
can
Abyss
have more
también.
than one memory, and thus you can have more than one powerful ability. As you
¿Tres?
gather memory
Joder.
petals, you can use these powers together. Each skill costs its own amount of memory petals. So using the examples above, you can first use Memory of Impatience to become way more powerful,
Uno,
then use Memory of
dos,
Panic to prepare them to revive when they are slain,
tres.
use Memory of Disbelief
Más
to
botones,
cause them to
por
drop
todo.
better, more valuable
Ya,
items.
eso es lo que
Bam.
le mola.
Finally,
Es
to
Sentinel.
reiterate them
Eso es lo
all,
que le mola al
Esto,
Doom.
The memory of
esto es
panic
lo que
will
le
kick
mola a
in,
Dom, tío.
causing them
Ser,
to revive,
ser puto paralítico,
and
tío.
then wipe them out again, allowing you to get all the
Se huele
experience
RF
and
otra vez, ¿o qué,
advanced
Doom?
drops twice.
Pero no hay divine, no hay
There are
reguardi.
many combinations of these powers, so you'll have to carefully
Valor,
consider
tío.
how they best
Habilidad
work.
nueva,
La
Crushing Fist.
basura.
Habilidad nueva,
That's
No,
not the
Crushing
only
Fist es
extra layer of
un...
content juicing these
Cosa de
maps
esos de
offer.
Retaliation.
As you defeat the boss of each map along the thread,
Uy.
you are presented with an altar. This altar will apply a modifier to all
500%
following maps
quantity
in the
quality.
thread, and these will stack as you go. So the deeper you delve into a memory, the more mods you will have.
Crafteos no tienen coste.
This, combined with the special abilities, will allow for some of the most juice maps ever run in Path of Exile. Let's take a look at some of the altar mods. You are always presented with two
Bueno,
choices, you
Possessed.
must pick one.
La madre.
This mod, for example, will cause some rare monsters to be possessed by tormented spirits.
Va a ser una
This
liga
mod
juicer,
makes
estos,
cleric modifiers free to craft. Both of these apply to all subsequent maps in the thread. The final map in each thread is a true challenge,
Cardinal of
with
Fear.
all the altar mods applying to it and guarded by a powerful boss. Each of these bosses are familiar, but dreamlike, drawn from Zana's memories and warped by the Atlas into something very different and terrifying. In this map, you will fight the pinnacle boss, Cirrus.
No.
Fueled by Zana's affectionate memories of him, his
No,
enhanced
Cyrus, no,
abilities
por
can prove
favor.
to be a unique challenge. If you manage to defeat Cirrus, or one of the other warped memory bosses, they will drop a map fragment, which Egan can use to delve deeper into the memory tears. With these, you can access a set of 3 new pinnacle bosses. In this arena, the Moment of Reverence, Zana is reliving a memory of her father, Valdo, giving a passionate
Big
speech in
Valdo.
Oriath. The Atlas distorts this memory of her father as a powerful, influential
Oye, lo de
man
los
and
pétalos,
manifests those
Cape.
emotions into a
Eso.
twisted nightmare. The
Y este es
incarnation
el último boss de... Parece el último...
La
Bueno.
madre, tío. Esto es moto how, tío.
Another memory created is the incarnation of neglect and the incarnation of fear.
Era
Vale.
Good
el...
luck, exiles.
Joder.
Bueno, pues eso era gimnasio,
Bueno,
Of course,
ese bicho es del
if
poder
you are
100%.
brave and strong enough to defeat them,
Se arrepiente.
each of these new pinnacle bosses have new unique items befitting them.
Holy Secret.
A ver.
If you slay the
I got it.
incarnation of fear, you might be lucky enough to find the Star
LOL.
Collar unique abyssal axe.
Druida apoyo.
We're gonna show this one because it's straight up badass.
Starfall.
The Star
No era
Collar
mala la
axe is
hacha
a
esa,
weapon that
Mira,
can
mira, mira cómo
harness the
llueve,
power
tío.
of the stars themselves to deal immense damage. What makes it shine, however, is that on melee crit, it
Bueno, sabes
casts
que se va a hacer Doom, ¿no?
a new skill.
No.
With the right
Buenísima,
build,
Doom.
you can carpet entire areas and wipe out
Pero el
strings of
Starfall da un
enemies
poquito igual
as you
aquí
rain
porque no
down
están
the
muertos los
elements
bichos
upon
ya
them.
Ya,
cuando
se
le
me adelanta, claro.
Another item
No,
you
yo
can
venía por el
find,
Bull.
and this one is
Random
my favorite,
divination
is
buff.
the Wine of the Prophet unique flask.
Divination Buff,
It
¿qué es?
consumes a lot of charges,
Ah, lo dice.
but every time you use it, you
Lo de
draw
los
a
altares.
random divination card. This card appears above you and correlates to a powerful buff.
No, son
Hostia,
bufos
esto puede
especiales.
estar
The escape
chetísimo, fuera de
card
Sí, sí,
coña.
mira, mira,
increase
pum.
movement speed.
Ah, no, vale, los Divination son nuevos, son
La
nuevos.
Cause you to
Te lo
gain
dije.
the modifiers of
Claro.
slain rares you kill.
Oh, Headhunter Boy.
Effectively, you can think of this unique as being many
What?
other uniques all in one.
Es un montón
There
de
are many,
uniques
many
random.
cards to draw, each with varying degrees of power to grant.
Literalmente liga de cartas, confirme.
Pim pam.
Correcto.
Okay, but let's get back to the Atlas.
Is
After
influenced.
defeating all 3
Malandro.
new pinnacle bosses, you'll be able to find new memory-influenced Tier 16 maps. These maps come with the previously mentioned special abilities and monsters infused with memory petals, but can also roll the same modifiers typically found on Tier 17 maps,
LOL.
making them far more rewarding.
Omega Tier 16.
With all these new memory maps comes a new item mechanic. Items in these
Penalty.
maps can drop with memory strands,
Memory strands.
and will have a random amount up
Penalty.
to 100. This does
Nadie
a
importa de
few
fútbol, tío,
things.
Kame.
When you identify the item, it will increase the tiers of modifiers your item has.
¡Ojo!
Generally speaking, the more memory strands, the better the item will be.
Más tío. Pues
On
bueno.
top of this, whenever you're crafting that item using currency
Oh,
orbs
pierde
to
memory
replace or add modifiers, such as alterations, chaos,
Tier 1,
and
Tier
so
1, Tier 1,
forth,
Tier 3.
it will consume some memory
A
strands
ver, eso
to
no
make
está
the
mal,
crafted
para
mods more
bases. O
powerful.
sea,
Está
eso
potente.
está guay porque
The
hace
new
que las
pinnacle
bases vayan a
bosses
valer
also
dinero.
drop new crafting currencies,
Ojo.
which can be used to manipulate the amount of memory strands on an item.
Oh.
The Orb of Remembrance will let you add memory strands to any normal equipment. So if you have your perfect base to craft on, and it doesn't already have memory strands, you can add some before crafting it.
Claro, entonces si la revientas le puedes tirar un
Orb
Scouring.
of Unraveling will consume all remaining memory strands on an item to randomly upgrade
Oh,
its mod tiers.
Eso también está muy bien.
This orb's
Ojo.
effectiveness is based on the number of memory
Es
strands it
como
consumes.
como uno de
The
los
Orb of
cosas de
Intention
Scout,
can be
pero
used on memory influence
sin tener que
maps
estar
to
corrupto.
reduce item drops, but improve the chance to find items with memory strands.
big memory strand situation.
In the process of adding these new currency items, we realized something was missing. The Shaper and the Elder did not have their own Exalted Orbs. This has now
Ah, sí,
been
eso lo
rectified.
dijeron en el review.
Both bosses now have Exalted Orbs, which can add their influence to an item. Zana was there from the beginning, when the Shaper Pinnacle fight was first added. She helped defeat the Elder, and she was a critical part of the Conqueror's storyline. Now, with all 6 influence types having their own Exalted Orbs, the cycle is complete. It's almost as if we could now do some sort of new, epic, unique item to interact with them.
¡Ojo!
In other news, there of course has to be Atlas passive tree support for this new in-game content.
Mira, mira el pavo,
Let's
está
take
ahí.
a look at a few things we're adding. The Grasp the Past notable passive skill increases the chance for the amount of memory strands on items dropped in your memory influence maps to be lucky. This means it will roll the number of
Que
memory
siempre
strands
hay que
twice,
ponerse el
keeping
TMC.
the highest value.
Nice.
By allocating traumatic experience, remembered kindness, or educated upbringing, you'll decrease the chance of finding memory threads that lead to specific bosses, meaning you'll have better chances at finding the memory threads you would like to run.
No, como lo
This is
de...
especially useful if you want to target farm a specific boss because of its unique item drops. In sum, the secrets of the Atlas will have you questioning what is real as you attempt to free Zana from warped memories scattered throughout the Atlas. You'll fight new Guardian and Pinnacle bosses tormenting her, find crazy new Pinnacle uniques, combine and unleash memory petal empowered skills, juice maps to new
Pues el pobre
heights,
pavo pega
and
menos
craft
uno, tío.
powerful new items.
Z DPS están poniendo en el chat y no lo estoy ni viendo. Sí.
While we were showing all the juicy
Dice
rewards from
Queen
the new in-game system, you might have noticed that a lot of gold was dropping. Let's talk about that. Gold was introduced during the
Vaya
Sands of
París
Calgar expansion.
4-0.
It funded the development and operations
Ojo,
of King's
full
March,
King's March.
along with various new features such as the currency exchange, the black market,
Big Gambler.
and the passive respec system with Faustus.
De Black Market
Those
usó nadie
features
nunca.
offered by Faustus will be here to stay,
Sí,
along
sí,
with
se
some of
usa.
the other services King's March has to offer. We'll get more into that later,
¿Todo?
but don't worry. King's March has already been completed. There
Ah,
will be
ya está
no
todo.
more town building.
No town building,
Like
chico.
before, gold will be used for town services, but we're also adding a new way to use it in the upcoming league.
Big mapas, tío.
It's time to talk about Mercenaries of Trust.
Mercenaries.
In this league, you will meet veterans who have traveled all the way from the lawless cities of
De
Travis.
Vigus Vicus.
They're ready to offer their sinister services, but not for free. You will encounter these mercenaries as you journey
Te
through
puedo llamar
regions,
Pedro, tío.
one in each area. They have their own personalities and come with different builds, skills, and items.
Básicamente
already
todo el mundo se va a hacer un Aura Stacker.
After meeting them, as per the Trathan code, they will challenge you to a duel, a test of strength
Oh,
and
a
conviction.
duel.
Before beginning the duel, you will be offered an overview of the mercenary you've encountered. Here, you can see the gear they have equipped, the skills they employ, and any support effects
puede
augmenting
robar.
those skills. You must now make a choice. You can hire their services, take one of their items, or exile them. If you choose to hire them, for a gold cost, they will accompany you as a skilled combatant to assist you in fighting monsters throughout Rayclast. Once you've decided, you can begin the duel. This is a great opportunity to test them, as you don't want to be out of pocket with a useless rookie. However, they're testing you too. They also don't want to be working for an amateur. So, what items might they be using? Generally speaking, mercenary gear is more powerful than what you'd normally find for defeating monsters, as they've been crafting gear
Necesito ese
items
anillo,
too.
chico. Lo siento.
They can also come equipped with unique items, those that would make sense for the skills they are using.
Oh, sería una
There
pena
are
que
even
se
some
llevara
new
esto.
unique items that can only be obtained from defeating them. One such unique is Scornflux.
Ojo.
These boots combine agility with the mastery of the arcane. While equipped,
Te puedes poner super
increases to cast
arcane
speed
surge.
from Arcane Surge also apply to movement speed,
Eso.
which is worth noting is now 20% inherently from Arcane Surge, up from 10. They also grant Arcane Surge when you use a movement skill. This allows for some speedy spellcasters.
No sé, no me terminan de
Sometimes you
convencer
may
la
meet
potes.
particularly infamous Trathan mercenaries, bearing the name of their house. These mercenaries descend from the four
La liga
major
un poco
death
floja,
trade
¿no?
families in Trathus. They are less common, but have far better items. And
Oh,
they are
no.
also the sole source of items with new, infamous modifiers, unseen before in Rayclast, such as
por
these
ejemplo,
gloves, which convert all of your
100%
minions'
el
fire
fire to
damage
chaos.
to chaos damage.
Bueno, habrá que
Or
ver.
this
si-
helmet, which causes nearby enemies to take more physical
Ojo.
damage as you gain more fortification.
Ese está bastante bien.
If you're not swayed by any of their equipped gear, however, you can always challenge them for the contents of their pockets. If you lose the duel,
Bueno,
don't worry.
vale.
You don't need to give them an item.
O sea, básicamente.
You aren't bound to Trathan tradition
somos,
like they are. However,
somos moros, ¿no? O
you
sea.
are bound to Rayclast tradition.
Modo
so
rumano on.
You'll just die.
Almost had me. Well, not really.
Not really.
While playing in a party, each player can decide whether or not they want to participate in combat against the mercenary. For each player that opts in, the mercenary gets more difficult. But if they're defeated, each player has a 50% chance to get a random reward, which is usually currency items from the mercenary's pouch. Alternatively, party members that opt out of the fight can
Quality of lightning,
spectate and cheer you on. Or they might wish for your demise, so they can pick
Ojo,
up
me viene en el
the
suelo,
relic
eh.
divine
Me viene Orpa
when
ahí
you're off
tirado.
screen.
Good.
Oh, ya lo pilla el otro.
Let's say you won the duel, like their items, and have decided to hire them. What combat skills do they bring to the table? Each mercenary has an
Determination.
item. Here, this mercenary is an Eruptor,
¿Y
which
quieres slam?
perfectly couples with my slower, more aura-focused Scion. This mercenary is highly aggressive, and will get a lot of benefit from the auras and buffs I provide.
Estoy
Ojo.
deseando ver cómo los bichos van a
Ahora,
mercenarios.
sí, ahora,
When I'm
ahora
playing a more
Stacker,
aggressive character
modo
myself, though,
enrage.
I'll want a mercenary with a bit more resilience and utility. I've just run into a striker, who can spawn with
Ojo,
Vigilant Strike,
Vigilant Strike y te lo
and if
pone
you're
también y
lucky,
Vitality.
a very rare golden support that causes the fortify granted by his Vigilant Strike to apply to me as well.
Ah, mira.
He will also frequently use Enduring Cry, taunting enemies off of me, and operating as a tanky frontline while I blitz off damage from the back.
Bueno.
Sometimes when you fight a mercenary, you may notice the skills they're using are different from normal. For example, this sniper is using a Trathan version of Siege Ballista. If you're lucky, you will be able to select it as your reward when challenging them. Then defeat them, and they'll drop the Trathan gem as promised.
Ojo, nuevos.
You can only have one mercenary accompanying you at a time, but up to 3 total in your service.
Ah,
The
vale.
other 2 will wait patiently in town.
Clutches
Having
of the
varied
Damned.
options
Dime
is useful,
que le puedes
as there
cambiar
may
los
be
ítems. Solo
situations
pido
where you
eso.
need specific backup, like a difficult boss
Están
fight.
como bloqueados, eh.
Any of your mercenaries you have active,
Ojo.
or in your reserves, can have their equipment replaced with items of your choosing.
Ah, vale.
Vale,
Ojo,
pero las
Fletchling.
They
habilidades
don't level
también.
up, so you will want to be looking out for more skilled and more powerful mercenaries as you advance
tiene
through the
haste.
campaign
Joder.
and endgame. If your mercenary falls in combat, you will need to return to town and spend some gold on healing supplies to get them back on their feet. Then perhaps consider giving them some upgrades, if you think it's deserved.
Toma, picaoms.
I just wanted to clarify, mercenaries do not lose their equipment when defeated.
Vale. Ah,
If your
ya creo
merc
que la
buddy
Miven no es muy buena
consistently
idea
fails
tener
you,
al mercenario.
you can just dismiss them and find a new, more resilient ally.
LOL. Baneado.
You walk your path.
Vale, mi pregunta es, ¿le puedo poner habilidades que yo quiera?
Creo que no. ¿O sí?
Earlier, I mentioned you could exile mercenaries.
Porque,
If you
o
keep
sea,
running into a mercenary archetype and you think, man, this guy stinks, their gear is trash and they have no auras, you can then
They have
choose
no
to exile
auras.
them. If you win the duel, they'll be forced to leave with their tail between their legs, and you won't encounter that archetype again for a while. Now, alongside these new Trathan arrivals, we shouldn't forget about the recent Kalgurin ones too. As we mentioned earlier, the Settlers update introduced gold-based respeccing of passive points. You can now do so by talking to a number of NPCs throughout Rayclast, starting with Bestil and Lionized Watch. Black market item gambling, previously just available in Kingsmarch, is now available in each town at the same NPC.
Big
vale,
gambler,
ahora te
tío.
pueden
This
estafar en
lets you
más
buy
sitios.
randomly generated item bases for
No,
gold.
pero eso está muy bien porque muchas
Very
veces estabas al
useful if
vendedor
you're
y no
stuck
había
for
ningún ítem de
upgrades
los que tú
or
querías.
searching for a specific unique. The currency exchange will be returning too. Starting from Lionized Watch in Act 6, you'll be able to find Faustus, who can help facilitate
My
these
boy
trades.
Fastus.
Now, after almost a year of
El
building,
Recombinator,
Johan is
chicos.
finally satisfied with the upgrades made to the town, and now its services can be used to their full effect. Kingsmarch is going core, but there will be no more town building. As you start running maps in the endgame, you'll start to find different ore veins, which Kalgurin workers can mine for you.
Yo quiero que si el
The
rune
shipping
missing es muy
mechanic
importante.
invites you to send these ores and crops to Karui and Kalgurin ports, and they'll return rewards in kind. By sending shipments, you'll receive different items. But by sending
Vale,
to
o sea, hay que
Karui
enviar
ports, you will
barcos.
also receive tattoos,
Me encantan los
which can be
barcos.
used on your passive tree to change what stats they
¡Mira la
grant.
gema, la gema! ¡No, la gema! ¡La gema!
The
Ojo,
Kalgurin
that which was
ports will be
taken.
sending back rune grafts,
Pero eso ya estaba.
which is a new passive tree mechanic that replaces the rune smithing service
Ah, vale, no.
previously
No
offered
hay
by the town.
rune missing.
These are similar to tattoos, but instead of replacing stat nodes, they replace a passive tree mastery
Ah,
node.
una mastery.
For example, Runegraft of the Bound reduces bonuses gained from boots, but increases bonuses gained from gloves.
Hostia, ¿eso funciona con, con las
Runegraft
cosas
of the River
únicas?
has a chance to recover your life to full if you reach low life. And the Runegraft of Time, which has a chance for your cooldown skills to instantly recover from their cooldown, which I will note includes cooldowns on your triggers, just in case you wanted to trigger even more spells.
Ojo, el trigger.
There are many other Runegrafts which cover a wide range of different builds and stats. Some are more common and others rarer.
40% en
You can
global. what?
only use one of a given type at a time, but you can use them on any mastery in
Hostia,
your
la de la
passive,
Global Defense
which
es...
can be
roto
particularly
eso.
useful for off-class investment. Isla has continued to make modifications to the Recombinator.
Así que ahora es peor.
She has developed a new method of recombination that you may recognize from Path of Exile 2. For those unfamiliar, this method allows you to decide which modifiers on the two input items you want to try merge together.
El
There's a
7%.
success chance you can see.
Otra forma de estafar, venga.
This
sí.
method can result in the
Está
items being
rotísimo
Y ahora van a
esto,
poner el caso en el que sale
However,
bien.
it is a good option to use when trying to create items with fewer mods to use
Ojo.
as crafting projects.
¿Cuántas veces lo habrán tenido que hacer, tío?
Given the existing
Lo
recombinating
critearon.
mechanic was very powerful
Lo
for top-end
probaron 20
crafting,
veces y
we
luego
didn't want
critearon.
to remove
20
it.
veces, dale un puño
We
más.
have kept it, and you can now choose to use it the old way or the new way. By letting fate decide, it will combine the two items randomly. There is no risk of destroying either item, but it will be less predictable.
Baneado.
Qué bien. Bueno, pues ya está.
As
Que
Settlers
coja
is now a
polvo.
core mechanic, we've also added Atlas passive tree support. For example, if you wanted to gather more Verisium ore, you could take this notable. Each ore has a similar node. Refiner's Bargain converts items dropped by possessed monsters into thaumaturgic dust, sulfite into random ores, and life force into random crops. We've also added a set of Kalguran scarabs, so you can add more ore deposits, increase the rarity of monsters that guard ore deposits to at least magic, or gather smelted bars from ore you mark instead of ores. To sum it all up, Kingsmarch is now a thriving town where you can employ a swath of workers to collect resources, refine ores, craft
Y el
items,
runesmithing ya para qué sirve, entonces no hay
and run
nada.
maps for you. Send shipments of resources in exchange for tattoos and
Quinto
rune
gol
crafts,
contra Francia.
using those to modify your passive tree to an extent never seen before.
Joder, la
Following on from that,
maestría.
we've also made a substantial rework to another important mechanic, betrayal.
Dino, ¿se podrán
As a
stackear
refresher,
los
and to
tatuajes
explain
nuevos?
to new players,
Porque
let's
si se pueden
briefly
stackear,
explain
el de
what
triggers es brutal.
Ahí dicen que puedes
Betrayal
llevar
is
solo
a
uno de cada
mechanic
tipo.
introduced in Act 9 and tells the story of Jun Ortoy and her
Pero
investigation
solo
of
puedes
the
llevar uno de
Immortal
esos de
Syndicate.
tiempo.
This is a mysterious group of exiles who can
Pobre Gilo.
seemingly come back from death.
No,
You must
Gilo.
help Jun to uncover their leader, the Syndicate Mastermind. The Immortal Syndicate is
Pero ¿y si ya
organized into
sabemos que
4
es Catarina?
divisions: transportation, fortification, research, and intervention. As you encounter the Immortal Syndicate members, you'll gain intelligence for each of these divisions to discover the location of their leaders, tracking them to their safe houses. Defeating the division leaders at their safe houses will reward you with intelligence on the Syndicate Mastermind.
Acabo de volver atrás en el tiempo, tío.
In your journey to track down the Syndicate leader, you'll manipulate the members of the Immortal Syndicate to change divisions, form friendships and rivalries, and even banish them from the Syndicate for a time.
A dormir, campeón.
Historically, after encountering and defeating the
Genial, nos
Syndicate
están explicando
Mastermind,
Betrayal, ¿no?
the state
Sí.
of the Immortal Syndicate would reset, requiring you to start from the beginning of the investigation again. This has always been a difficult decision for players and can often feel bad.
Sí,
Do
literalmente pasábamos de
you
ello.
fight the Mastermind for a chance at the special loot, or keep farming the safe houses that you've spent so long setting up? Well, in the Secrets of the Atlas
What?
expansion, we've split out the Mastermind to be
Medallion.
completely separate from the core mechanic.
Ah, ahora
The
puedes
boss
ir
is
a
now
pelearte
accessible
contra
through a
Catarina.
new fragment that has a chance to drop from the safe house leaders at high levels. The Mastermind no longer resets the state of the Immortal Syndicate. You can now build your betrayal board to your liking, optimize
Ahora
it,
literalmente
do
simplemente los revientas
Mastermind
cuando están en
fights,
level 3 y
and
ya.
reap the rewards
ya
without
está.
having to lose
Qué
all your
pereza me dan
progress
los
every
roles.
time.
Esto es Hugh
The boss fight
para
itself has
farmear
also
Betrayal,
been
¿eh?
improved.
Sí, 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 claro.
Now with
No puedes tener
significantly
siempre
fewer immunity
farmeando
phases
Gravicis
and
con el
new
1-2.
rewards.
Lo que no
By the
sé.
way, if you're a new player to Path of Exile 1, don't worry about all this detail. This content is optional, and you can discover and engage with it at your own pace.
Menuda mierda de daño que
Esto es
tiene
brutal,
eso.
Mastermind still
Ojo,
has a
cuidado,
chance to
creo
drop
que-
a Veiled Orb,
Elite
now
Exalted nivel
renamed
de
to Veiled Exalted Orb. Veiled Chaos Orbs are being
el
re-added to
Iceling
other safe
y
house
este es
leaders.
el de toda la vida.
In addition, the Mastermind now drops the new All Flame Embers.
Ojo, All Flames.
All Flame Embers are map fragments that replace monster packs and in-game maps with different types of special monsters.
Bien, entonces
These
podemos
packs
volver a
have
tener a los
unusual
caos que
properties,
quedaban
compositions,
rueditas.
or rewards.
¿Recuerdas?
For example, you might use the All Flame Ember of Kulamak, which replaces packs with syndicate monsters and their leaders, who revive after the map boss has been slain. This might at first sound annoying due to backtracking, but these monsters when revived are far more intense and rewarding. It is our intention with All Flames to provide many different types that combine with other mechanics, multiplying with your existing modifiers in new and interesting ways.
Ojo, Super Magic Mode.
Another good example of this is the All Flame Ember of Propagation. When slain, special rare monsters added by this All Flame here will spread their modifiers to other rare monsters in the map. This can be useful when trying to create singular,
Bueno.
very powerful, and very rewarding monsters.
Vuelven los Loot
Something
Goblins,
akin to
entonces.
Mexacs, which are making a reinvented
Very,
comeback with
very
this update
rewarded
too.
monster. Y no han tirado nada de momento.
No,
Bueno,
no,
Very
Another
rewarded
is the All
super
Flame
monster
Ember
que
of
tiene ahí.
Resplendence, which adds monsters that drop no items. But when you slay them, you get buff stacks of increased quantity and rarity to enhance the drops of all other monsters. All Flame Embers can be placed in your map device like scarabs, and used in
Límite
conjunction
2.
with scarabs to further customize your maps. We're looking forward to seeing which combinations players find to enhance their maps.
Bueno,
Perhaps you'll use all scarabs, all flames, or maybe mix and match. It's up to you.
bueno, el Mig Maxim va a ser
The
infinito.
Mastermind's unique items have also been improved. The veiled modifiers generated on these items are now from a custom pool exclusive to those uniques. Bitter Bind Point, for example,
más
can
uno
now
al
have
espectro.
various Spectre-specific outcomes, such
Login.
as +1 additional Spectre. Aside from improved rewards from the Mastermind, all the safe house rewards have also been rebalanced. We've done a pass on the crafting sprees at the end of many safe houses.
Hostia,
For
80
those who aren't aware
segundos,
how
tú.
these crafting sprees work, well, it's simple. There's a crafting bench with an item in it, and a bunch of currency. There's a limited amount of time, and your only objective is to craft the best item possible before the time ends. One of the problems that the crafting sprees have is that they often require you to have specific items on hand in order to best maximize your result. But how are you supposed to know that beforehand? In order to solve this, most of the crafting sprees now offer pre-generated items. This has also allowed us to add much more powerful
Ojo,
crafting
Super
options in
Harbinger
each
mode.
spree.
Mira, pum, pum, para
Let's
arriba.
take a look at a few examples. In this spree, a randomly generated amulet or ring will
Bueno.
be waiting for you. Test your crafting skill or luck with this Reflecting Mist crafting spree, and see if you can create something worthy of Kalandra's praise.
Menuda mierda, dice.
And in this spree, you will find a pre-generated unique item, and a new kind of orb that resembles a Val orb,
Gin
but not
Toads.
quite the same. Normally, you can only corrupt an item once, but
Ooh.
uniques in this spree can be corrupted and re-corrupted as many times as there are orbs.
Ooh.
This orb also allows you to get 2 corrupted implicits, and has a much lower
Ojo,
chance to
doble
break the
corrupted implicit. La
It can be
madre.
a very useful tool for seeking specific corrupted implicit outcomes. Of course, if you push your luck, you can still ruin the item.
Baneado.
There are also crafting sprees where you still need to provide an item, but those items are generally more accessible and it occurs less frequently. This one allows you to bring your own normal rarity item, then just go ballistic with a whole ton of scouring
Bueno.
orbs and orbs of chance, hoping to get your ideal unique. For most sprees,
Making
the
order.
rank of the syndicate member increases the amount of currency provided, the quality of the pre-generated items, and the time allowed to craft your item. Aside from the crafting sprees, there are other new options too.
Ojo, Factor Lens.
If you love gambling for currency, how about you try opening Varici's Emperor's Luck chests? These work just like the Emperor's Luck divination card and provide full stacks of currency.
Esta me
If you're
gusta.
lucky enough, unlike me, you could end up with a whole lot of divines.
Big Jewelers.
Betrayal is a good source of veiled items. Veiled items have some important quality of life improvements in this expansion too. All of the crafting bench options normally granted by unveiling items are instead now moved to the core game, so you don't need to run Betrayal to
Guau,
unlock.
guau.
They are instead found at the entrances to boss rooms and in-game maps.
Área.
On top of that, you no longer need to speak to Jun to unveil items. You can just right-click them, or the equivalent on gamepad, and select
20%.
which veiled modifier you want to unveil.
Penetration.
Overall, Betrayal is now much more streamlined and more rewarding. Happy
¿Te trae al
interrogations.
yo y al entonces?
Le ha clavado un puñal, Dom. Como en Barcelona.
Sí.
Now,
Han
before
hecho
we
la
get into our
táctica del
quality of
machete.
life additions, let's quickly
Venga,
talk
a
about
ver,
some
a ver las
character-
hostias.
Uno, las
We
ramblas.
will be doing our
A ver
recap
las
A tomar,
hostias.
a
of
tomar
our
por
changes,
Creta
we're
el
bringing outliers in
bici.
line to help
Line
evolve the
Strike.
A
meta.
ver las hostias.
But we are
¿Banean la
also
skill del Dom?
focusing our
Ahora que va a
attention
jugar el
on
Molten
some
Strike of Zenith o
specific
qué?
things.
Rip Trister.
This includes spellcasting supports that specifically enhance self-casting builds, channeled spells,
Icebomb a la mierda.
adding new options to the Guardian, Berserker,
Random
Elementalist,
Shrine Book.
Saboteur, and Champion Ascendancy
Escucha, eso que le han puesto al Guardian está rotísimo. Por
includes
algo.
Sí, sí, sí,
favorites
sí.
from some of the alternate classes from Legacy of Frisia,
¿Lol?
and buffing a whole bunch of transfigured
¿En
gems
serio
that
no han
never
tocado el
really hit the
Assassin,
mark.
tío?
Combined with the new endgame crafting, improved betrayal crafting options, rune graphs for your passive tree, new pinnacle unique items, new modifiers and Trathan gems from the mercenaries, and of course the mercenaries themselves to act as an extension to your character, it's safe to say there's a lot of new character options and builds to think about.
Bueno,
Instead
el
of delving
Saboteur
into all
tiene
these in more
el
detail,
Nimis.
we figured we'd just let you absorb them through the patch notes so you can do it at your own pace. In the Secrets of the Atlas expansion, we've also added a lot of the quality of life features
Escucha,
that we know
la
you've all
del
been
Guardian
asking
está
for.
rotísimo con el
A lot
debuff,
of
eh.
these have
Que
already
sí, que
been
sí.
posted, But let's take a look
Vas
now.
a tener
in case you
el
missed
ghoul
it.
y el otro, el pecho.
You
ese.
can now pause the game at any time by pressing escape to open the menu,
Oh.
or by opening any full screen interface, like the passive tree. You'll also be paused if any lag is detected or if you disconnect. It's worth noting that in certain Pinnacle arenas, a debuff will be applied to you that prevents you from pausing.
Baneado.
We're also making a change to how you use currency items on strongboxes and monsters imprisoned in essences. Based on the currency in your inventory and the state of the strongbox,
Porque puedes
these
clavar
buttons will
chances.
appear. Valuable currency like divine orbs have been excluded from this as it would often be wasteful to use in this context. The same applies to essences with the remnant of corruption currency.
El
Igual.
ese se ha
Horizon
ido
have
el
been
Dom, tío. El Dom se
No
ha
te
ido.
voy
You
a-
can
Dynamo
now
Dome.
re-roll your Elder and Conqueror Guardian maps.
Buah, es buenísimo, tío.
Doing so will
Qué
re-roll the
hermoso.
base map and the Guardian of that map. The map device now has a small additional inventory. This is particularly useful if you're rolling many maps to run in sequence, or if you want to use varying amounts of scarabs or other map fragments. During breach encounters, all the splinters
Toda
will
la
be automatically
splinters,
collected
tío. Pim,
and dropped at
pam.
the end of the breach. On gamepads, we have separated the targeting of monsters and non-monsters, so you are able to target them independently. This removes a bunch of frustration when you are trying to interact with objects in the world and monsters are
Sí, eso
nearby.
la gente se queja un montón.
You no longer have to kill all of them first. Vendor windows will now remember your last search. This is remembered until you log out and is remembered on a per NPC basis. The amount of characters you can type in the search field has also been increased.
150.
When using currency items, after right-clicking them, it will highlight all other items which that currency can be used on. There are many other quality of life improvements, so keep an eye on the patch notes after this livestream concludes.
La madre.
Alongside the launch of Secrets of the Atlas, we are hosting a competitive event where players will race to be the first to kill the new Pinnacle bosses. The event will take place in the hardcore, solo self-found Mercenaries of Trathis League.
Big money.
We have some interesting prizes in store for the winners. Keep an eye on the news in the lead up to launch for more details about how the event will work and what its prizes are. Next up, we're going to be talking
Okay,
about
esto
our
es lo
new
importante, chicos.
League supporter packs. Today, we're launching two new series of supporter packs, the Frisian Magistrate and Crypt Keeper packs. Each tier contains the pack's full face value in points, alongside several exclusive microtransactions.
Let's go.
As always, the microtransactions in these packs are purely cosmetic and do not affect your character's power or progression in any way. The Frisian Magistrate series of supporter packs contains 6 exclusive microtransactions.
Bueno,
No, mira, puede
sacrificio.
ser Groot, tío.
The Frisian Magistrate character effect will bind your character in thorny vines and roses. You can select which parts of the character you want to have covered. Either your entire body, your lower body, or your upper body. As you approach waypoints, it will emit leaves and golden petals towards it. When activating the waypoint, it will create a burst around you. Envelop your weapon in thorny vines and golden flora with the Frisian Magistrate weapon effect. Your weapon will also create a trail to match as you swing, and even comes with its own hit effect when slaying enemies.
Ah,
You
me.
are the law, while wearing
Ojo.
the armor of the powerful Frisian Grand
La
Magistrate.
madre, está chula esa arma.
The
Si
Spider
quieres ser
Blossom
un
pet
mármol, sí.
activates its defense mechanism, disguising it as an elegant flower when near rare or unique enemies.
Es un árbol de la
The
ultraderecha,
Frisian
cuidado.
Imperial
Es árbol de-
Magistrate
es
back
árbol de
attachment
ultraderecha.
comes in 2 forms. Equip either the
La capa está
Tombstone
guapa,
La
variant,
capa
which
está
will
chulísima.
leave tombstones in your honor when you meet your demise,
Ese está
or
guapo.
equip the Cape variant to cause the corpses of slain enemies to become enveloped in rose-thorn vines and blossom with golden flowers. Keep track of how well, or poorly, your ultimatums with the Trial Master have gone with the Trials of Chaos hideout
The
decoration.
2-round challenger
It will
comes
keep
back.
track of the total number of waves completed, the total number of ultimatums succeeded, or even failed. On top of that, it will track the total number of times you've defeated the Trial Master himself. The Crypt Keeper Pack series also contains 6 exclusive microtransactions.
Bueno, el mapa.
With the Crypt Keeper finisher effect, death itself will tear through into the realm of the living and steal the soul of slain unique enemies.
La madre.
The Crypt Keeper portal effect creates a gateway for lost souls to pass through.
Está
Buah.
guapo este portal.
La... Gariseus Maliseus.
Estos son
Become
mis
the true master
dineros,
of the
ya.
undead by
Sí.
wearing
Sí.
the hallowed Crypt Keeper armor set. It comes with a more armored helmet variant and a creepy mask
esta me
with a
mola.
spectral hood.
Esa cabeza está chula como
Está
la...
guapa, sí.
Looking to have some fun during idle time in your hideout? The
Oh.
Burrowing Bramble Bash hideout decoration will
Ok,
test
este
your
es bis,
reaction speed
¿eh?
as you try to whack as many Devourer heads as possible.
400
Pero
euros.
escala
It
la
also comes with a
velocidad de
scoreboard,
ataque, ¿o
so you
qué?
can try to set new records to show off to your friends or just visitors coming to trade. Equip yourself with the Ghostly Dead as you ride the line between the living and the
Hostia,
dead with the
está
sacred
muy
Crypt Keeper
guapa
back
esta.
attachment.
Vale, este es mucho mejor que el otro, tío.
The
Ojo,
Sacred Archives map
está
device
guapa.
resembles
Pero
a
¿qué?
magical
250
library
euros.
with the works of
No,
scholars
estos siempre
that come
son
to life in your
60,
open
30,
land.
60, 90.
This map device tracks how many of each core league you've completed in in-game maps.
Hostia, vale, ya está. Ya sé cuál me va a pillar.
These packs
Hostia,
are
eso
now
está
available for purchase on both PC and console, and will remain so during Path of Exile, Mercenaries
A ver,
of
mola
Trophies.
mucho más el de la derecha.
Sí.
Por ser de la
Additionally, any
ultraderecha.
microtransactions from the supporter packs will be made available for use in Path of Exile 2.
Eso no salen ni
Meanwhile,
dos.
the Paladin and Penance packs leave the store forever at the launch of the Mercenaries of
Una
Trophies
semanita
event,
más.
so now's your last chance to purchase them. Additionally, the Dawn of the Hunt mystery box will be made available for Path of Exile 1. If you have already unlocked any microtransactions from this box in Path
Joder,
of
mono.
Exile 2, you will of course immediately have access to them in Path of Exile 1. Thank you so much for your ongoing support. We're just about to start the Q&A
Okay.
with Ziggy D.
Pues vamos a acabar el vídeo
Afterwards,
este.
we'll post the full patch notes for Path of Exile, Secrets of the Atlas.
Pues ya estaría.
With
Súper
release
cosas
at the end of
interesantes.
next
Oye,
week,